Hello guys, today I'm testing Remnant 2. On screen you can see the game running on the high preset with FSR set to performance. If you thought you were going to be able to play with a different FSR configuration or a higher preset, you're in for some bad news. As you can see, the Steam Deck is only averaging 24 FPS, which is like barely playable. So now I'm going to test the game on the medium preset, and I'm also going to be using FSR Performance for this test. Oh, the game isn't Steam Deck verified, so we might get a performance boost in the future. And let me tell you this guys, we are going to need it. You can see that the Steam Deck only manages to get an average of 25 FPS on medium settings with FSR set to its performance mode. Sure, there are moments where you're going to be getting nearly 30 FPS, but during combat you can expect 25 FPS on average, which isn't great. Okay guys, let's give the low preset a try. This is the first boss fight of the game, and nothing too wild is going on, and yet the Steam Deck struggles to keep a consistent frame rate here. I also tested other zones of the game with these settings, and the FPS are always going to be worse than what you're seeing now on screen. On average, including all types of situations, like combat and moving around in the ward, I was getting 26 FPS on average. The game felt playable though, I must say. So now I'm using FSR Balanced because I want to check what type of performance increase we get, but I'm starting to doubt we're going to be able to sustain 30 FPS on this game guys. And yeah, we're going to need to tweak the settings if we want to improve the FPS enough to make the game playable. So I did notice that this particular area was pretty demanding, and during gameplay outside of this initial zone, I got an average of 27 FPS, which is okay-ish if you want to play for a few hours. I really hate how FSR Performance looks, but if you really want to squeeze out a bit of extra performance and try to reach 30 FPS, setting FSR to Performance seems like the best option. On screen you can see that the Steam Deck seems to be getting a decent frame rate with these settings, but my averages tell a different story. The Steam Deck manages to get an average of 28 FPS with these settings, which is just 1 FPS more than using FSR Balance, but the image quality is much worse now. I think I'm going to try messing around with the settings. Okay, so here are the best settings I can manage to get. Make sure to set the display mode to full screen so that you can change the resolution. I'm going to use 960 by 600 and let the Steam Deck's FSR implementation upscale the image. We should be getting better FPS than before, but text is going to be a bit more blurry. It's the trade-off that we're going to have to make if we want higher FPS guys. Oh, and open the performance sidebar and make sure that you enable the manual GPU clock control toggle and lock it to 1600 MHz for better results. The Steam Deck is GPU bound in this game. And here is the game running with my custom settings. We're now getting 30 FPS most of the time, but you are going to dip below 30 FPS occasionally, but don't panic. It shouldn't be noticeable during actual gameplay unless you're paying attention to the FPS instead of the game. The game also looks pretty good with these settings. You're going to find that there are plenty of effects and particles on screen that make the game feel more dense than on the low preset. You can go back and compare this footage with the low preset if you want to see what I mean. So, now let's talk a bit about performance. I think this game still needs a few performance updates. The Last of Us Part 1 looks much better and performs better, but anyway, if you want to hit that 30 FPS mark consistently, you're going to need to use my custom settings, or you can play with the settings yourself, because you're not going to get 30 FPS with any of the graphic presets the game has to offer. And I want to finish today's video showing you guys what happens when we use Intel's upscaler instead of FSR. These are still my custom settings, so the only thing that has changed is the upscale method. Which upscale method do you guys think that looks better? Drop a comment below. Well guys, that's pretty much it for today. Remnant 2 is a fun game, I had a good time while testing it, and I'm sure I'll continue to play in the future. Will it be on the Steam Deck though? I'm not sure. I have to test it on the Ally first before I decide. Okay guys, if you found the video useful, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and if you aren't subscribed already, consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on the Steam Deck versus Ally video. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.